and I'm sure they've got the notch boards set up to put this bunch in here. Doesn't take but a few minutes to put them in. Um, Aurora supervised um, the the bar tying for the house. See, we poured the floor and put the walls on top of it. That way, the floor is just another layer of footer. It's got to push that entire floor slab into the dirt. Uh, you know, not just the what's under the bottom of the wall. Um, and anyway, that gives you a flat floor to work off of. Now there's 10 concrete posts in the center, but that left a 24 or 25-foot circle, the size of the atrium. That was a work area. But what they did was they painted some perpendicular lines that there was the shape of the height of a wall, and then they painted some that the different lengths where things go, and marked over these paint stripes. This done with a paint roller. They marked them with a wide felt tip pen. So you lay your notch boards down. Yeah, notch boards back then too, and we had a piece of plywood marked to the shape of the window, and that was laying on the floor. So what they had to do was cut the ones that would have gone across the window, left and right and top and bottom. And my wife was the one yelling at everybody about which piece went where, so she didn't waste anything. After a while, she got quieter and they got calmer, and it went really quick. They tied from the last one you're going to use, you tie it first because it'll be on the bottom of the pile. And you put it next to where the last wall is going to be poured. You're going to pour it in the order you take the rebars off, the tied rebars off the stack. So it sort of determines it, but you can figure it out ahead of time by putting the last pour on the bottom and the next to last pour on top of it. But there'd be 20 long walls, like 24 foot long of bars stacked up. And then there'd be the short wall that goes in there, the door into atrium. Each room got a door, a secondary door into the atrium. And those are small. They're only 8 feet wide by 10 foot, 1 1/8 tall. But what I was going to say, she tied all the bars for the entire first floor in 2 days. That's tying every intersection on every bar. And they were just as neat as this grid here because it was very likely these same couple pieces of lumber with notches cut in it. And then she did all the upper tie beams in some notch boards that set across sawhorses to locate the stirrups because they're progressively closer together on the first 3 feet off each end. And she did 3 a day of those, and there'd be 10, 20. Well, there's 30 of them. It took probably 2 weeks to tie all those, but like 2 days for all the entire walls for the entire first floor. The floor slab, that was like I explained on the previous video. This set right here, she put one across the diameter in the middle, but cut off. She started the next one with it, and that staggered all the joints going across. And every once in a while, she'd cut one in two. If they looked like they were making a pattern, and she'd put well, it's not 20 feet. It's 234 inches, 6 meters. Anyway, she would once in a while throw one of those in to screw up the joint staggers so that they didn't have any kind of repeatable line. She picked that up really quick because she'd never done any of this kind of work. And she can bend over and pull her socks on with her feet flat on the floor. I mean, she didn't have any problem reaching down. She doesn't squat down anymore because she's 80 years old. But she directed it and had everybody, like 11 people working for 2 days. Okay, this is going to be the third pour. It's starting to show that it's they're equal thirds here, but you don't know how much overlaps on the plastic, so that's not really a good gauge. You have to see one of these. There's a divider board here, almost even with that plastic, and they have not put a divider board over there yet. So we don't know exactly where the edge of that will be. These plastic bags here, they're the concrete sacks, and they were put in there to line the hole so the water and cement wouldn't go into the dirt. It's hard to believe anything go into the dirt that it takes a pick to dislodge it. But it's just bad practice to pour concrete on dirt. It has a really rough exterior to the shape of the dirt, and that's a stress rise that the cracks can run from. You get a smoother surface, even if it's got wrinkles and ripples in it. It's nothing sharp in a close dimension. So we put plastic under everything, and she'll cover these up. You can see here where, can you see the pointer? Yeah, up here. You can see how that she's covered back over the bags, so all these loose edges won't get up in the concrete. In other words, the tarpaulin will probably have what we call concrete biscuits. There'll probably be 3 or 4 around each post to make sure that plastic doesn't blow up. And plus, if they pour it, as the concrete slides out across there, it pins it down as it goes. Once you got concrete on top of it, that's not going to come back up. Are we done here? Okay. Look at the shadows. End of the work day. That's west out that way and east up this way. And I would say that's probably 14¼ degrees, that angle off the bars. When the sun's due south, the shadows will be point straight in line with the bars. If we were on the equator, right now the sun would be dead west, and this would be lined up with the bars. But we're not at that point. Okay, this video has got long. Looks like boy has done painting. They're coming down and see what's going on, tell people what to do. We got the first barrel over here on the right. It's going to take 2 barrels of water to pour 37 bags or so for this this block here. Footer and floor is a monolithic pour. So one barrel is really not enough. So it takes 2, and we'll have 3. And 2 barrels will be right next to where they're going to run the mixer. And the 3rd barrel will be a convenient place for the next anticipated pour. That way you haven't got to scoop it out of a barrel that you've already filled and put it in another barrel. You know, just transfer it. When we had Ruhel doing the water, he ended up having to do that a lot because we hadn't figured out that we needed to put the 2 we were going to use right by the mixer and the other one someplace else. Just to make sure that the pump didn't break. Broke about 4 times during the construction. And that the city water didn't go off from electrical failures and stuff. So we would have water to finish the pour and any water we needed for anything else. Washing the tools up afterwards, whatever. We had that before we put the first bag in the mixer. If we didn't have the water, we waited. If it got late, we did it the next day. Okay. I don't know if you can tell much, but there's a definite 14-degree slope among these. The rails that the solar panels mount to, they go up. Sound like I'm sick. The rails are at this 14¼ degrees. The last panel of the first set we're going to install ends up hanging off the end of this column, but it gets a flange on the end of that rail support, and then that rail continues right up on top of the building, and the roof is up within 3 inches and the same angle as the rails. So when we get to 62 panels up here, and yes, we've gone up from 50 to 62, it was just easier to get them to sell us a full pallet. And what we did was, because we'd only budgeted for 50, we got a pallet of 31, and we're going to wait 2 or 3 months. On up, and the exchange rate hasn't gone sideways, and we'll get the second batch of 31. I might find some way to pay for them before that, and we'll probably get them so they'll all be the same. We're getting the solar panels from Rosen, ROSEN, $136 a piece for 560 watt panels. They're like, I think, 42 volts, around 13.3 amps or something like that. When you get into the 550 to 560 watt range, there's a trade between amps and volts, depending on how how the cells are wired. So, but they're all going to be in that same range. See, we were going to use 700 watt panels, but the amps are too high for the inverters. We couldn't get anybody to sell us a name branded inverter that carried those kinds of amps. They just flat wouldn't deliver. We're not looking to buy 2 container loads of inverters. We just needed, half a dozen inverters. So we found out that Victron is a major supplier worldwide. I believe the original company is German. I'm not sure about that, but I think it is. Anyway, they moved their production, or most of their production, to China. And they separated into Victron brand is still sold under Victron. But they make MPP Solar's inverters. That is their brand. And they also have another completely different brand. MPP Solar uses MOSFETs, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. That's the thing that turns on and off to make your sine wave output power. And they have a 1-year warranty on their inverters. They have a model of a hybrid inverter that's got a 2-year warranty, but that's as far as I could see they would ever go was 2 years at MPP Solar. Plus, they wouldn't ship. They only do CIF and FOB, and they really don't want anything but EXW. They want you to pick it up from their warehouse in China, and you arrange everything. That's not acceptable to me. I just could not deal with people like that. They have a dealer in Cebu. You can buy it off the shelf, and a 50% increase in the price. And 50% is an awful lot of price increase. I didn't like the paying 25% the value of it to get it on a ship. But 50%, that's just too much. So the other brand that Victron makes is GrowWatt. They are the largest produced solar inverter on the planet by like 3 times over. They've made almost 4 million of the things. Every developing country in Africa has got them. All over Asia, China, and it also comes with a 5-year warranty, same as the Victron. But it's not MOSFET control technology. MOSFETs take a fairly large current to turn on and off, and that large current makes heat. So they're real temperature sensitive, and plus they waste power turning it into heat. So they are a major player in semiconductors, makes MOSFETs. They're used by Tesla in their cars. Tesla uses off-the-shelf components applied very smart. They just they take proven designs and just use a lot of them. Now, the other thing you can do is you can use IGBTs, internal gate bias transistor. And the GrowWatts are IGBT. They are a very, very high threshold voltage to turn them on, but they take almost no current, so they don't make heat. You have some heat from the transfer of the huge amps they can carry. You can get IGBTs that carry 3,000 amps. So and they turn on and off at electronic speeds. Anyway, Growwatt uses IGBTs, got a 5-year warranty, a lower price, and 2 different people were willing to ship them. It turned out that I didn't know about the second one when I bought them, so I paid about 10% more. I was just so glad to get them. I don't care that it costs a little bit more. Oh, now that the video's got long enough, it may have to be 3 parts. It's only going to be 2 parts. And you'll have known that if you ever watched this Hardly Watched channel. I think we have at least 1 view on every video we've ever made now. I'm going to make my wife watch a video to get a view on that other one. She's never watched one of our videos. I think she owes it to me to watch just one. Other people's wives watched her videos. She might find out what's going on if she watched them. Okay. So just say a little prayer for the Ukrainians and hope that people will keep supplying Stinger missiles and armed drones and stuff. And maybe they'll get their country back. And maybe the United Nations will have to solve it in the end when they put Putin on trial. And they can give them back Crimea as war retribution, which they stole in the 1800s, I think it was. Russia stole that from Ukraine back then. Okay, and then remember the poor people in the pandemic. Probably another video next week or whatever. Signing off for this one, though.